All right, guys. Getting the lab all finished, set up today. Right now we're outside of the lab, where I have this box, this filter box here, that's designed to put in regular HVAC type filters. These are the kind of filters that I'm using for the pre-filter for the lab. Just something pretty simple. And I have these here and switch them out every couple months. I just put them in right here, tape over the seams, and I have a constant positive pressure going into the lab. So there's a fan on the other end of this box, which I'll show you, and it's pulling in air from the basement here, which I'm going to be continually setting up to grow cordyceps and algae down here. So it's pulling in air from the basement, and it's going right into the lab over here. So you can see I'm gonna have to get some kind of like weather strip because there is a little bit of open space here. But because there's a positive pressure in the lab, when I hold my hand up here, I can feel air coming out, which is what I want. So that fan over there, which again I'll show you once we get in, is constantly pushing air into the lab. So if there's any place that there's cracks in the lab, like anywhere where air could come in with contaminants, with mold spores or dust or anything like that, it's going to be pushed out instead. So once I get this sealed up all the way, every time I open the lab, it'll be enough positive. Well, I already feel it. There's enough positive pressure in the lab right now that every time I open the door, I feel air coming out. So that's what I want. So this is where the air comes in. It's constantly bringing air in here and creating a positive pressure in here. So we'll start over here. This table I have set up to do molecular biology. I have my mini PCR set up right here, where I can amplify DNA. So I'll do my DNA extractions and amplify my DNA right here. I'll run it on my gel electrophoresis right here. I'm probably going to upgrade this and get another mini 16. So I can do more because I already quickly outgrew the mini 8. I mean, it's good for like small projects, but especially when I'm doing mating type PCR, I definitely need a lot more wells to do more at one time. But then I can check my results with my gel electrophoresis, have my centrifuge here, my vortexer, and I'm still accepting donations. I did make quite a few donations for the qubit for DNA quantification, and I had some unexpected expenses come up. So I really appreciate everybody that did donate for the qubit, and I'm still accepting donations so that I can get the DNA quantification tool, so that I can start running my MinION. I could run my MinION without, it's hard to open this with one hand. See if I can open this. All right. So yeah, I have my MinION here, and I could run this without quantifying the DNA, but the flow cells that are they're consumable part of this piece of equipment that you need to use when you are sequencing DNA. They're pretty expensive, so when I run that, I want to make sure that I quantify the DNA so that I'm not wasting my flow cells. I want to make sure that I have enough DNA to work with before I start doing that. So gonna figure that out here shortly. I have my microscope for looking at cultures. I'll probably check out some spirulina under there today, check out the culture, see if it has a lot of spirals or what's good with that, and then I'll post that up. I have my little mini fridge here for cultures, which is stocked full right now. I need to run through here, organize everything, make some new liquid cultures, and get out some orders. In the little freezer, I have all of my DNA consumables. I have my flow cells up here, and all of my other consumables for doing DNA extraction and amplification. Got my pipettes up here, my mixer, my magnetic stir bar mixer. I'm gonna set up a shelf right here. I have one, I just don't know where the pieces for it are, since I'm still like unpacking and everything. I haven't found the box that has the pieces for my shelves. I have my little trash can here that I take out fairly often. You don't want trash sitting around in the lab. Then I have my baby, my Envirco, for everybody that's always asking what brand this is, fan filter. It's a ceiling unit that they use in like hospitals and stuff like that. I really like the ones with the fan in it so that I don't have to attach ducting or draw in air from elsewhere. I do have one like that I use for my teaching engagements right over here. You can see this one does not have a fan attached, and I had to put a reducer on it because this opening is way too big. But I use this one just for teaching, and I have to attach a fan to that. So I don't want all of that extra back end space. It just gives me more space in my lab if I have it with the fan built into it. So I have my back decinerator over here. This is for sterilizing my tools while I'm working with cultures. I always keep my paper towels and my parafilm to my left. I have my little bottle of alcohol to clean down the surface every time before I use it. Got my gloves over there. Syringes under here for doing culturing or for making liquid cultures to sell through my online store. Got some syringes and caps. I usually have these in alcohol so that they're sterile whenever I attach them to liquid cultures that I'm sending out. And I have all of my PCR tubes and centrifuge tubes over here. I keep my PCR tubes and centrifuge tubes near the HEPA filter because when I open them, I want to open them in the cleanest space that I have. So even though my molecular bio stuff is over here, I oftentimes will do extraction in front of the HEPA filter. So yeah, that's the lab for now. Just like I said, I'm going to set up my shelving. I have my big box of Petri dishes over there. Get these other boxes out of the way. These are here just to keep unpacking until I get my shelving back in here. But yeah, that's what I'm rocking with. It's not the biggest area. It's a little bit smaller than my last lab, but this is going to be way cleaner. This house is new. It was finished being built in December, so not much dust or anything like that is accumulated. I'm not sure if I'm going to paint the floor yet. The only reason I would paint the floor is to like even out any of these like little surface scratches anywhere where anything could hide and live. But until I do that, or I don't know if I'm going to do that, I'll just keep cleaning the floor with bleach and what's the other thing I clean the floor with? Chlorhexamine or chlorhexamide. So yeah, that's what I'm rocking with right now. This is the current lab setup in the basement, where I'll be fulfilling my liquid culture orders, doing culturing, breeding cordyceps, maintaining my spirulina culture, and doing molecular biology. So yeah, I like to just point out that anybody can get a setup like this going. It wasn't too much of an investment. Everything in here is probably less than $5,000. And I've been able to recuperate those funds by doing the work that I do down here fairly quickly. And I really would encourage a lot more people to create community labs with friends or create your own labs in your home, so you can start doing some research and figure out some cool stuff. Let's see, I'll answer some of these questions before I log off here. Is the airflow moving across the bench into the filter? No, the air comes in from back here. So this is where it's pulling in air, and there's a pre-filter in the back, and then it just blows air towards me. And this is only on a medium setting right now. I can turn it from low, medium, and high. And when I'm working in front of it, I have it on high. But when I'm not in here, I just keep it on the low setting. I always have this thing on. And because of that, I change out the back filter fairly regularly so that it doesn't get full of dust. And I don't want the main filter to get dust in it because that will just decrease the life of the filter. See any other questions? What teaching do I do? I teach about mycology, phycology, permaculture. That's pretty much it. Urban ag. How much for one of those units? I got this one on eBay super cheap, especially because I picked it up because these are expensive to ship. So somebody was selling this in Pittsburgh, so I drove 3 hours out, and I think I paid like $300 or $280 for it, which is really, really cheap. Right on. I think I answered everybody's questions. I appreciate you guys all for logging in. Yeah, as always, propagating myceliate. Spread that love, get that work done. get some research done, and all of you guys have the potential to discover something new. So much love. Peace.